she remarked. "You can't expect me to be faithful. I'm young, attractive, and I have choices." I simply nodded and then sent her words to her father along with the vacation bills I had covered. 3 days later, she was yelling into my intercom while I increased the volume on my TV. On Monday evening, I called Monica's apartment and asked to speak with her father about something significant. "He's here for dinner," she replied, sounding puzzled. "Is everything all right?" I just needed to discuss something important with him. Robert picked up the phone at 8:40 p.m. By Wednesday morning, conditions were being placed on his daughter's financial support, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me tell you about Sunday night when Monica, 23, decided to share her views on dating with me. I'm 28, own a plumbing business, and I'm doing quite well. Monica works part-time at a salon when she feels like it and spends most of her time at the gym or creating content for social media. We've been together for about 10 months. Her father, Robert, owns a chain of auto repair shops and has money. Monica receives a monthly allowance that covers most of her expenses, and he helps with rent and car payments. I knew she was accustomed to a comfortable lifestyle, but I thought that was typical for successful families. It didn't bother me since I was doing fine on my own. On Sunday, we returned from a weekend in Vegas that I had paid for. A nice hotel, great restaurants, shows, the works. It cost me about $3,000, but Monica had been thrilled about it for months. She was going through photos on her phone, posting the best ones to her Instagram story to ensure everyone could see she was living well. "Thanks for this weekend, babe," she said while editing photos. "These pictures are getting crazy engagement." "Glad you enjoyed it," I replied. "I always enjoy nice things. That's the whole point of having standards." I was half watching TV when her phone buzzed with a DM notification. She smiled at whatever she was reading, typed something back, and smiled again. "Who's messaging you?" I asked. "Just Trevor from the gym. You don't know him." Trevor was a name I had heard before. Some guy who had been liking all her photos and sending messages. Monica always insisted he was harmless, just another admirer. "What does Trevor want now?" I asked. "He's commenting on the Vegas pictures, asking if I'm seeing anyone seriously," she said casually, as if it were normal conversation. "What did you tell him?" "That it's complicated." I muted the TV. "How is it complicated?" "Well, it is complicated. We're not engaged, we're not living together. We're just dating. Dating exclusively for 10 months, I pointed out. She looked up from her phone. "Exclusively according to who?" "According to the relationship we've had since last year." "Jake, you're sweet, but you need to understand something about me. I'm 23 years old. I look like this," she gestured at herself, "and I have options. You can't expect me to be loyal just because we've been spending time together for a while." I stared at her. Spending time together, dating, whatever you want to call it, the point is, I'm not ready to settle down with anyone. I'm young, I'm attractive, and guys are constantly interested in me. Why would I limit myself because we're supposed to be in a committed relationship? That's your interpretation. I never agreed to be exclusive. "Monica, you're my girlfriend. I introduced you to my family as my girlfriend. Labels don't mean ownership, Jake. I'm not going to turn down opportunities just because you think we're serious." "What kind of opportunities?" "Dating opportunities, social opportunities. If someone more interesting comes along, I'm not going to ignore that." She returned to her phone as if this was all completely reasonable. "So you're planning to cheat on me?" "I'm planning to keep my options open. If something happens with someone else, that's just me living my life. And what am I supposed to do while you're exploring your options? You're supposed to understand that girls like me don't usually end up with guys like you long-term." That one hit differently. "Guys like me. Working guys. You're successful at what you do. But let's be realistic about social levels here. My dad didn't build his business, so I could marry a plumber. Does your father know you feel this way?" "My father wants me to be happy. He understands that I need someone who can match the lifestyle I'm used to." She began typing to Trevor again, probably telling him how available she was feeling. I sat there, processing what she had just said. 10 months of what I thought was a relationship, and she had been treating it like casual dating while shopping for someone better. Here's the thing. I was proud of what I did and made good money from it, but the casual way she said it, like I was just entertainment until a better option came along, stung. "Monica, let me make sure I understand this correctly. You're young and attractive and have options, so I can't expect loyalty, right? And you said girls like you don't usually end up with guys like me long-term. That's just reality. And you're planning to keep exploring other opportunities while I'm paying for your vacations. Now you're making it sound bad. I appreciate what you do for me, but that doesn't mean I owe you exclusivity. I had heard enough. It was time to let her father know exactly what his money was supporting. The phone call that started it all. Monday morning, I was replacing a kitchen faucet, thinking about what Monica had said. The more I thought about it, the more it bothered me, not the breakup part. If she wanted to date around, that was her choice, but the using part. Taking my money for expensive trips while openly planning to find someone better. Acting like I should be grateful for the privilege of funding her lifestyle while she shopped for upgrades. During lunch, I pulled up the Vegas receipts on my phone. Hotel, restaurants, shows, spa treatments, shopping, $3,000 in 2 days for someone who just told me she was keeping her options open. That evening, I called Robert. We had met several times. He seemed like a decent guy who worked hard and had traditional values about family and relationships. Hey Robert, it's Jake. Hope I'm not calling too late. Not at all, Jake. How are things? That's actually what I wanted to discuss. Monica and I had a conversation yesterday that I think you should know about. Oh, is everything okay? I'm not sure. She explained some things about her approach to relationships that surprised me, and since you're supporting her lifestyle, I thought you should hear it directly. What kind of things? I told him about Sunday's conversation, her comments about keeping her options open, not being expected to be loyal, and guys like me not being long-term material for girls like her. She said this to you directly, word for word, right after we got back from Vegas, which I paid for completely? There was a long pause. That's very concerning, Jake. Let me talk to Monica about this first and get her side of the story. I understand. I just thought you should know what happened. I appreciate you bringing this to my attention. I'll need to have a serious conversation with her about this. I appreciate you taking this seriously, Robert. I take family values seriously. Using people while looking for something better isn't acceptable behavior. Tuesday evening, Monica called me around 7 p.m. Jake, I had a really difficult conversation with my father yesterday. He said you called him about something I said to you. I told him about our conversation yesterday. What conversation? The one where you explained that you're keeping your options open and that guys like me aren't long-term material for girls like you. Silence. Then you told my father that? I told him exactly what you told me. Jake, you can't just run to my family when we have relationship discussions. I didn't run to anyone. I shared information I thought he should have as the person funding your lifestyle. That's private between us. Nothing's private when you're openly planning to use me while shopping for someone better. I wasn't using you. I was being honest about where I am in life. You were being honest about treating me like temporary entertainment while I pay for your experiences. That's not what I meant. That's exactly what you meant. You just didn't expect me to tell the person writing your checks. Jake, please call my father back and clarify that this was just a misunderstanding. It wasn't a misunderstanding. You were very clear about your intentions. My father is talking about putting conditions on my allowance now. Sounds like good parenting. This isn't fair. What I said was private. What you said was disrespectful to both me and your father's support. I hung up and ignored her follow-up calls. Wednesday morning, Robert called me while I was driving to a job site. Jake, I had a long conversation with Monica yesterday about what you told me. How did that go? She confirmed the conversation happened, though she tried to downplay what she meant. But her attitude about relationships and the people supporting her was clear enough. What are you planning to do about it? Starting immediately, her allowance comes with expectations. She needs to show appreciation for what she receives and respect for the people who care about her. That sounds reasonable. I'm also requiring her to contribute to her own expenses. Time she learned the value of what she's been taking for granted. Wednesday evening, Monica showed up at my apartment building, buzzing my intercom. Jake, we need to talk. My father is being completely unreasonable. I looked at her through the building's camera system, but didn't let her in. Jake, I know you're there. Please let me come up. I turned up the volume on my TV and continued watching. My father cut my allowance in half and says I have to get a full-time job now. The action movie I was watching had some good explosion scenes. Really loud ones. Jake, please. I'm sorry about what I said Sunday. I was just being dramatic. She buzzed for another 10 minutes before giving up. Thursday, she tried calling from different numbers. Jake, it's Monica. Please don't hang up. What do you want? I want to apologize and explain what I really meant. Sunday, you explained perfectly. You're young, attractive, and have options. You don't want to be tied down to a plumber. I was wrong to say that. I was just scared about getting too serious too fast. You weren't scared. You were being honest for the first time in 10 months. That's not true. I care about you. You care about what I provide. There's a difference. Jake, my father is making me pay my own rent now. I can't afford my apartment on what the salon pays me. Sounds like it's time for that full-time job. Please, just call my father and tell him you misunderstood what I said. I understood perfectly, so did he. You're ruining my life over one conversation. You ruined it yourself when you explained how little you think of the people supporting you. I hung up and blocked that number. That was 6 weeks ago. I haven't heard from Monica directly since, but I've received updates through mutual friends. Robert followed through on his new expectations, cut her allowance significantly, required her to cover her own rent, and made her get a real job with consistent hours. Monica struggled with the transition from her Instagram lifestyle to working retail full-time. It turns out taking orders from managers is different from taking selfies at the gym. She had to move to a cheaper apartment with roommates. No more solo photo shoots in her designer kitchen. Her Instagram content shifted from luxury lifestyle to motivational quotes about growth and learning experiences. Trevor from the gym lost interest quickly once she needed actual emotional support instead of just validation. Apparently, guys who slide into DMs aren't typically looking for complicated relationship situations. Monica tried moving back home, but Robert had conditions. Contribute to household expenses, follow house rules, no entitled behavior about money or lifestyle. She lasted less than a week before deciding independence was better. Last I heard, she was working multiple part-time shifts to make ends meet and asking Robert for a position at one of his shops. He told her she could start as a receptionist at entry-level pay if she was serious about changing her attitude toward work and money. As for me, I'm doing well, business is good, finances are stable. No one is explaining why they're too good for me while cashing checks I write. I recently started seeing someone new, Lisa, who is a nurse that works hard and pays her own way. When I told her about the Monica situation, she said, "Anyone who thinks they're above honest work probably isn't good for much else." The conversation with Robert accomplished exactly what it needed to. It revealed who his daughter truly was beneath the daddy's princess facade. Monica thought she could play the role of a loving girlfriend while shopping for upgrades, all funded by family money and my vacation spending. She believed being young and attractive meant she could use people without facing consequences. Instead, she learned that financial support comes with expectations, including basic respect for those providing it. Robert wasn't cutting her off out of cruelty. He was teaching her that taking advantage of people's generosity while openly disrespecting them has consequences. Monica wanted options and freedom to explore better opportunities. Now she has them. She's free to work 2 jobs, free to split rent with roommates, free to learn what life costs when you have to pay for it yourself. The intercom incident was perfect. She went from explaining how guys like me weren't long-term material to begging me to fix her financial situation with her dad. Sometimes the best response to being taken advantage of is just ensuring the right people know they're being taken advantage of too. Monica was honest about her intentions, and I was honest about sharing that information with the person funding those intentions. She learned that biting the hand that feeds you works both ways. When you disrespect people's support, don't be surprised when that support stops coming. The conversation she thought was private between us influenced her father's decision regarding continuing to enable her lifestyle. Natural consequences for unnatural entitlement. Robert heard exactly who his daughter was and made a parenting decision based on his own values about respect and appreciation. This is a perfect example of why honesty matters in both relationships and family dynamics.